Haliburton to take it. He'll backpedal a three for the win. And long shot Haliburton. Oh! Tyrese Haliburton has gone mad.
Well, I'm going to the NBA Finals, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The New World. And in today's video, after watching the dominating performance by Tyrese Haliburton, keeping the traditional point guard alive and rallying his team to a 3-1 lead over the favored New York Knicks and outplaying the league's clutch player of the year, to book a trip to the NBA Finals, which will make this their first appearance in 25 years since the Pacers fell to Kobe and Shaq in 2000. So not only will we recap the dominating postseason of Hali and the Pacers, but how Tyrese Haliburton has played since being voted the most overrated player in the National Basketball Association by an anonymous group of players amongst the league. Now, before we hop into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and help us on the road to 10K subs. Turn on those notifications to stay tuned for more content, and comment how impressed you are at the Pacers finals run and where Tyrese Haliburton will rank after this postseason. And if you haven't checked out our previous videos, as we discussed the ethics of MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the rivalry between the WNBA faces and Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and the disappointing ending to the Los Angeles Lakers season this year, make sure you do that. Now fellas, after watching Hali put up a historic triple-double with 32 points, 10 rebounds, 15 assists with 0 turnovers, how impressed are you by the run he has led this Pacers team to, and will he be approaching superstar status after being voted the most overrated player in the league?
All right, I have definitely been impressed with Tyrese Haliburton. I'm a Tyrese Haliburton guy. I like Tyrese Haliburton's game. I think he's a very, very effective player and is probably the best true point guard in the NBA today. Really just kind of bringing back that style to the league. I think that from a point guard perspective, the shoot first model has become basically oversaturated, and I think it's also hurt the effectiveness of how we have half-court basketball and offenses. I think it's made offenses a little bit more one-dimensional. I think we're really just seeing that between the rivalry, the one-on-one matchup between Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is, at this stage in his career, deemed in that superstar category. I will say this, I think that superstar term is just getting thrown out too loosely, but based on the average person's definition of a superstar, Tyrese Haliburton should be thrown into that fold. Now, for me, is he a superstar? No, but I also don't think that there are a lot of superstars in the league. Like, when I think of superstars in the NBA, I'm thinking about Jokic, Giannis, SGA, and maybe Luka. In my opinion, that's about it. Because I think that in order to be a superstar, you need to have won something, whether it's an MVP, a championship. You need to have consistent dominance on your team. You need to borderline be in that transitioning to all-time great. I even throw Jason Tatum in there too. So in my opinion, there's only like 5 superstars max. Because if we start having more superstars, then what does that shit even mean anymore? So I think that in my definition of a superstar, Tyrese Haliburton is not. But then that means that also guys like Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson, and I would even say guys like now LeBron, Steph, they wouldn't even be superstars in my criteria. But based on what the standard is, what people think a superstar is, like, my opinion is, if you think Anthony Edwards is a superstar, Jalen Brunson, then yes, Tyrese Haliburton is a superstar, because you have to game plan for him. He impacts that team and makes every single player better. I continue to hear guys saying, oh, well, Tyrese Haliburton is the number 1 option, or oh, he isn't averaging 25 to 30. He's a point guard. So is Chris Paul, when Chris Paul was at the peak of his powers, was he not an MVP? Chris Paul wasn't consistently giving you 30 every night. That's not his game. And that doesn't have to be your game. Scoring doesn't make you a superstar. We've seen guys like Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd, traditional point guards. Even if you go back to Isaiah Thomas when they were winning championships, they weren't winning championships where Isaiah Thomas putting up 30. How do you impact your team from a perspective of winning and competing for championships? I think Tyrese Haliburton's style of play empowers his teammates. Guys like Aaron Nesmith, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, Andrew Nembhard. All of these guys are better because Tyrese Haliburton is empowering them and getting them the ball in the spots where they need to succeed. Another thing that he does is, in the clutch, Do I need to talk about those clutch time numbers? He's in the 90 plus percentile when it comes to making big shots in the clutch. So he's giving you that. So when we start comparing, I think that because we're seeing something different, his style of play is very different. If we're just comparing him against all of the elite guards today, it's different from a Steph, it's different from an Ant, it's different from a Brunson because it's not ISO between the legs all day long. Scoring 30, being ball dominant. It's not that. It's coming up off the rock, getting opportunities for other guys, making my other guys succeed. And that's something that I really, really admire because it shows that Tyrese Haliburton has great leadership, he has great charisma, and he's focused on winning. He's not fixated on his stats. That's something that I really get irritated by is niggas that are just trying to put up a bunch of points. So even when they lose a game, we can say, oh, that man had 35, 40. But did they win the game? Did they make other guys better? Because one thing I will say is when Tyrese Haliburton is not on the court, the offense does not look the same. And that's just a fact when it comes to the Indiana Pacers. We cannot say that if you take Tyrese Haliburton off this team, the Indiana Pacers are where they are today. A game away from making it to the NBA Finals. They're not. So that looks like a great player to me. To me. Now you got your idiots on, ESPN and all of these other platforms that are saying he's not a superstar. We're going to make another video about this guy in the future. If you think that guys like Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards are superstars, I don't see how Tyrese Haliburton is not in that convo. I just don't see it. Now, if you're just one of those guys that just looks at the box score every day, I feel you. Tyrese Haliburton doesn't have that. But he's sending these niggas home, which guys that have been anointed the face of the league, when they send guys home, they just get all of these flowers. He's sending niggas home. Number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. Send Donovan Mitchell and those bozos packing. He's about to send the New York Knicks packing. He's about to take the Indiana Pacers to the finals. How do we not take a step back and say, man, this guy's great. He belongs in that tier with the top guys. We have to put him in that convo, in my opinion. So I've definitely been impressed. I've loved what I'm seeing. And I think that as of now, Oklahoma City Thunder are putting BTA to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So it looks like we're going to have Indiana and Oklahoma City in the finals. And I will say I am very, very happy and ecstatic that we're having two relatively smaller market teams to show us that it's not just about the glitz and the glamour and all of the hype. It's not about that. It's just about niggas that play good basketball and that are well coached and that have great players that are not selfish. I think that that's what we're going to see in the NBA Finals in this next round. And I'm very, very happy and pleased with Tyrese Haliburton and how he's performed and led his team.
Okay, so I definitely do see the perspective of people having Tyrese Haliburton as a superstar in the league where it's currently standing. I think the main disconnect that probably you, Barto, have with the other guys, especially like the media not having him as that, I would associate that more so to the fact that those guys, they kind of look at the excellence of Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, like those guys that they had like the last 2 or 3 seasons. So it's kind of over a bigger span. Now, this is really like, Tyrese Haliburton's like first main playoffs. I mean, he was kind of injured last year, so he kind of missed a good portion of it. But this is really like his first main playoff. So there's kind of a different, light in that. We've seen guys like Trae Young, achieve like, relative like good success in the playoffs and then, just falter. So I do have to see it over a longer period of time. I will say this, though. I think Tyrese Haliburton has kind of been the difference maker in the series so far. I think his style of play is definitely kind of more so contrasted with Jalen Brunson and their style. Ideally, if you look at the New York Knicks on paper, you look at these standout players they have like 2 All-NBA players. You got 2 elite wings and then, or really good wings. And then you got 2 bench, to great role players in Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart. So you look at these guys and you expect them to be a good offense, but they're not a really good offense. And they don't really play their like kind of remotely high pace. And I kind of have to blame that more so to the point guard of the team, who is Jalen Brunson, and blame that more so to the coach of the team, which is Tom Thibodeau. And, he's not really having these guys on any minute restriction. I mean, he's kind of surprised me this series. We're going a little deeper in his bench. Like I saw Lante Wright getting some minutes. Campaign just doesn't need to touch a playoff floor ever again. He's been kind of washed since his days with the Phoenix Suns. So I think he doesn't really need to be on the floor that much at all. And you look at all these other guys like Miles McBride. These guys touching the floor. This is what's needed as a coach. You have to play these guys so your star players aren't playing 44 minutes a game and getting tired. Like, I don't understand why Tom Thibodeau doesn't play his guys. I really don't get it. He's never learned his lesson, so it doesn't really make much sense to me. Like Karl Towns, like dang near busted his kneecap, and he's still on the court. Like like he's limping on the court, and Tom Thibodeau is like not making any substitutes. And I don't know if it's an ego thing with me. Like, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Bill Belichick without the rings. It's like, dog, you're not like you're not that caliber of coach. But sticking more to the subject, I think Tyrese Haliburton has definitely been the best player of the series. When you just look at how he kind of the style of play is kind of interwoven into the offense of the Indiana Pacers. Like Rick Carlisle got these folks running this free flowing ass offense where it's high ball screens, high movement. Tyrese Haliburton is bringing the ball down the court and he's initiating high ball screens and making exceptional passes. Like, for somebody to generate 32 points and 15 assists with no turnovers, like that's insane, especially in a playoff setting. Like, that may be one of the best games of this playoffs from just one player, and Tyrese Haliburton did that. And as Barto already alluded to with his clutch numbers, he's 12 or 13 go ahead shots like this entire year. Like, we can roll a clip of his go ahead to game tying shots. Like, the brother is clutch. The brother has that. So like, honestly, the New York Knicks, for as much as this, this 3-1 comeback that all these guys have basically been running since LeBron James. These social media fans are so funny. Like, LeBron James, since he took that picture, or since they captured that picture of him, doing a 3-1 lead, having his headphones in, all these fan bases think they can, come back down from 3-1. It's not easy to come back down 3-1, and especially like to a better team. The Indiana Pacers are just a flat out better team than the New York Knicks. They're coached better. They have better players. They are deeper. They just play the game better, and I don't see why people think that it's not going to happen. And if it does happen, I probably can't talk ball no more. But it's a very small % chance of that happening. And by the time this video is out, the series is probably already over. So, yeah, Tyrese Haliburton, much shout out to him, and much shout out to Adam Silver for having his father back in the arena. I thought that was definitely a motivator for Tyrese, to kind of play more free, have a better game, have more motivation to kind of play against the Knicks in the game 4, which was ultimately like the biggest game of his career, and he definitely delivered. I'm definitely curious to see how they go. I don't think they're gonna. They should be playing against Oklahoma City in the NBA Finals. I don't think that matchup should kind of go well in their favor. I think it's going to be an interesting series, but I'm very curious to see how the Oklahoma City's perimeter defenders guard Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese isn't really a good dribbler, so the ball pressure probably is going to be a little intense, and we're going to see how they call that series, especially with the physical play that Oklahoma City does play with a lot of times, and they got the foul baiter, but they don't they don't commit fouls, even though they are kind of handsy. But they are one of the greatest defensive teams of all time, have the greatest net rating of all time, most amount of 10-point wins of all time plus. So they are one of the greatest teams of all time, and we'll see how this goes for the Indiana Pacers and Tyrese Haliburton. But I just got to congratulate them, man. And hopefully they finish the job with the Knicks, because I don't want the Knicks in the championship. I'm sorry, it may be part of my bias, but I don't think they should be in the championship. I hate Knicks fans. Knicks fans, like as far as Hitler, Stalin, Knicks fans are the worst, and then it may be in Boston fans, but the racist ones, and then LA is top tier worst fan bases ever. Golden State too is kind of annoying, but they are New York Knicks level annoying. And Philly fans, my fault. Philly fans too. Philly fans, they can't get off on me. The 76ers are annoying. But there's a clip of, I think one of the Indiana Pacers fans, I think he was wearing a Tyrese Haliburton jersey. I think it was before the series was over with, and he was in Madison Square Garden, bro. And I think they threw trash on him or whatever. Ain't that what happened, Jay? I think they threw trash on him, bro. So
Yeah, they was like it was mobbing, bro. I'm not gonna lie,
they
bro.
were
You can't be walking up in New York like that, dog.
yeah, so
Can't
I
be
think
walking
he
up in
was
New
kind
York
of
like that.
trolling on
That's
that. I
crazy
think,
work.
and I think Tyrese Haliburton like flew him out after that. But I mean, you can't be trolling like that, bro. Like you should already know the consequences of walking in New York, bro. Like you know how their fans get. So he kind of has to take a lot of responsibility for that. But it's like New York fans, I don't like them, and they don't. You know, they are just annoying. I'm sorry, I have to just admit it. I can't stand when they win a game. When they beat Boston, I didn't like it because really Boston should have won that series. You know, if they had competent fourth quarter execution and their best player didn't get injured, you know, probably would be talking about the New York Knicks differently. But anyways, shout out to Tyrese Haliburton. You know, keep on hooping. I'm interested to see how he scores against this Oklahoma City team because with the way his jump shot is kind of layered, it's like it's a set shot. So I don't know if he's going to be able to shoot off the dribble as much, and I don't think OKC is going to give him a lot of breathing room. You know, coming off these screens. So that's very interesting. But you know, shout out to the brother, man. He's in Chris Paul talks apparently. You know, I'm one of the biggest Chris Paul fans, and I don't really like that. You know, Chris Paul. The guy's like multiple time All Defensive Team. MVP candidate, which he should have won. He should have won in 2008. And one of the greatest point guards of all time has the greatest. Honestly, he has the greatest analytics from a point guard I've ever seen. Like you just look at how impactful he was to teams. You know how he's mentored a lot of these teams. You know the current MVP. That's basically Chris Paul's son. So it's like.
Can I say one thing, please?
The greatest athlete.
If Anthony Edwards can be compared to Michael Jordan, Tyrese Halliburton can be compared to CP3, man.
But I don't think many people I don't think the Michael Jordan is. I don't think that's a good comparison. That
it's not, but it's the combo.
Because when Anthony Edwards was coming up, people were saying that he played more like Dwayne Wade. So it's I think they're just doing that because he's dunking on people. Like that's the only reason. Then just because he's dunking on people, and
dunking on people, and he dark skinned, and he kind of look like MJ, man.
If you cut off Anthony Edwards' hair, he looks like Michael Jordan a little bit. So the long lost son allegations are definitely there, but he doesn't play like Michael Jordan to me. I don't really see it. I see him as a Dwayne Wade with a jump shot, like with a three ball. That's really it. Like a younger Dwayne Wade. So. I don't see MJ comps at all. I don't even see Kobe comps. I mean, y'all can disagree on that with me. I don't know, but I don't really
I agree with you. I'm just talking about the media. Like the media is saying him Jordan.
Well, here's my thing. I can't take the media seriously because the media is the same guys that were saying, the Los Angeles Lakers, they could potentially be a 68-win, team in Oklahoma City whose second best player is J-Dub, who are fraudulent. We don't care about analytics over here, even though, granted, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they did have trouble with these West teams. Oklahoma City, I think they're 40-1 against the East team. So it's they're all-time great team. So the fact that people are hopping on being like, oh well, I don't know how they're gonna be able to guard Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves and LeBron James. You don't know basketball if you're talking game like that. Those guys, the way they play basketball is not really conducive to a playoff style basketball. It's just not. And I can't take LeBron James seriously because this guy he's a billionaire and he's not taking a pay cut. He's not taking I think he opted in his $52 million deal, so it's he's not taking a pay cut. So do you want to win or not? Because LeBron James fans tell me, oh well, this guy. Well, LeBron fans on the internet would be like, oh, he already has 5 because they count the in-season championship, and it's we're counting that, bro. So they're like, oh, he only needs one more than he's already got, Jordan. I'm like, man, I just can't take you seriously, bro. I can't. So I've already rambled on, so I'm just gonna pass to JC if you got anything else to say.
Yeah, man. Tyrese Haliburton. I mean, he's played really well this postseason. He played really, really well against the Knicks. I think the Knicks, when you're playing in Madison Square Garden and playing against the Knicks, I think it just brings a lot out of usually the best player in the series because like Buffy was saying, niggas are tired of the Knicks fan base, man.
We're tired of Stephen A. Smith.
I was hearing a lot of folks on Twitter just say that First Take is just a New York Knicks fan podcast. even though I get that the Knicks are still mad that they lost that game 7 to Houston and they ain't won none since 1973. Like, Knicks fans, bro, you're tired of them because, like, when they win, it's crazy. Like, honestly, you can hang up a banner and it could say the New York Knicks beat the Boston Celtics in the second round. Like, that's how crazy they were going. It was honestly almost comparable to when the Suns, they won that Western Conference final and had a parade for it. Like, it's crazy how Knicks fans are. Like, they get really arrogant, but Hali, I mean, like, he uplifts this team like crazy. Like, dude, he's honestly getting this hype like when he was first like blowing up with the crazy double assist games, like before that All-Star break, and he was just dropping like 15 assists, 14 assists, 16 assists, and double doubles like left and right. And honestly, I do think he's approaching superstar status. I won't necessarily have to give it to him right now because I can understand it. How Buff was saying, like, Jalen Brunson, he was doing this for 2-3 years before Anthony Edwards, because like before that All-Star break, Hali was hooping, but then after that All-Star break, I think this might have been the 2023 season, like he kind of just dropped off, and it was like, where was the spaz that we were seeing? Where's the guy that we were just seeing drop these crazy double high assist games? So I can understand it, but then again, I could also ask y'all, like, should there honestly just be a tier for like the five that we discussed in our group chat about who are like the true superstars? We can honestly compare it to, like, I'm gonna throw a little One Piece term in there. We got the 4 emperors. Well, in this case, it'd be the 5 emperors, and then your warlords. Like, your warlords are like your Halleys, your Ants, your Brunsons. But then the big emperors, the Yonkos, that's those 5 guys that just
no.
They ain't there.
What it should be
I don't
is
even
this.
think that, I don't even think that Luka Doncic and like Jason Tatum, like I wouldn't even call them superstars, in my opinion.
I'm in agreement.
I would just call
putting
like
their names out there to be nice. Honestly, you really can say that there's like only 3.
Like, in my opinion, I think they're like high tier. Like, like they're really close to that. If Jason Tatum can get like whenever he comes back and is fully healthy, if he can get to a level where I don't think the brother will be seeing any MVPs anytime soon, because I think like Nikola Jokic is kind of just gatekeeping that award. So I don't know if he's going to see any MVPs. So I think his best success will be probably like getting to the finals and successfully getting the finals MVP. That finals MVP last year was kind of controversial if you look back on it. So you look back on that, it'll kind of be looked differently. But yeah, I don't know about that one, Jay. I think the whole superstar term is it's how you want to define. It's ideally a high tier star player, but there are different tiers of these guys, and I feel like I associate that term, or many people would kind of associate that term with being like, okay, like if you're making a pyramid, who are you going to put at the top 2 rows? Basically, that's how people kind of look at it, and I kind of look at it like, who am I going to put like just at the top row? And Giannis, he's kind of falling through on that one too, because it's like he's not getting any playoff assists, he's not winning any MVPs for me. So I probably rank him like 3rd now. On that ranking, but he still be a superstar because he definitely still has that superstar output, but he's been playing on shitty teams, so hopefully he gets himself in a better situation when he plays on a better team. One funny report that I do want to say, it's not happening.
I had to throw it out there.
But one funny report I do want to say is that the Milwaukee Bucks somehow thought that it was a good idea to think that Doc Rivers was going to help Giannis Antetokounmpo stay on the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm like, dude, Doc Rivers is not a good, source to be relying on.
Hey, they really still living off that Celtics championship, bro.
Bro,
look at Doc Rivers, man. Celtics won a championship, man.
You need a superstar over there. So the fact they thought that was very, very like that was not Cisco. When I first saw that, I thought it was NBA Centel. Like, I didn't think that was Central. I thought that was NBA Centel. I didn't think that was real. So.
And can I make one last point before Jay you conclude? I'm agreeing with Buffy about my superstar criteria. I'm really just being nice by throwing guys in there like Luka and Tatum, because Luka hasn't won shit. Because I was thinking about it like this as you guys were talking. Prior to Curry really coming on the scene in 2015 and inserting himself into that superstar, you can make a legitimate argument that from like 2012 to 2014, like before that, there were only two superstars, Durant and Bron. Like you can make a legitimate argument there were only two true superstars because superstars are top of the top. Like in the current, when you look at a current NBA landscape, superstar is the top tier. There's nothing higher than that. Like there's nothing. Whatever is higher than that is maybe like all-time great players, but we're putting these guys in a vacuum of what the current landscape is now. So when I think about a superstar, I'm thinking about the best of the best, guys that are competing to be the best player in the league type combos. Like a lot of these guys that we're bringing into the fold, I don't think that they would be there even in the discussion for top player in the league. As Buffy was saying, it's basically the top tier on that pyramid. And we know that tippity top of the pyramid is a very, very small area of space. A lot of niggas can't fit in that space. Like I think it's really unfortunate that we still talk about guys like LeBron and Steph as superstars because they're not. They're not. Like they can't win championships as the best player on their team. So you're already eliminated from that. Just because you're an all-time great player doesn't mean you get to stay there. And I think that we've done that. So because we've extended that olive branch to guys that are older, we've also done that with guys that probably don't deserve to be there because we can't say that Steph Curry and LeBron are still superstars and not say that Tatum is one and not say that Ant is one because those guys are better than them. So now we just say that everybody's a superstar. So we got 15 superstars in the NBA. I think that does a real disservice to that term because guys like Jokic and now SGA and, Giannis he's diminishing a little bit, but I would still throw Giannis in there. Those guys who are the clear-cut top three, they need their own platform, and that platform will be superstar. Like these other guys are stars. They're stars, but they're not superstars. They haven't won a championship. They don't have the MVPs. They don't have the consistency. So that's kind of how I feel about it. It's like, when do we start valuing terminology? Because I think that's what we need to do. We need to start valuing terminology. So how I look at it is that you have superstar, then star. Then I'll probably put a category beneath that called all-star, like guys that can make the all-star team. But it's levels to this. And superstar, we have to consider that the top level in a current NBA climate.
Yeah, honestly, that could be really a whole nother conversation for a video. But, Hali and what he's done, what this Pacers team has done, like it's really shook up the Knicks. And, Buffy was talking about how bad Tibbs was coaching. And it really looked bad. Like Tibbs, he's a guy who's basically stood 10 toes down on I'm gonna play my starters, over 40 minutes. But then like this Pacers team and how deep they are, he's had him so shook. Like this dude has literally started playing some of his starters 28 minutes, 29 minutes, and then he's going deep in the bench. Like you can't stick to your word and run this type of format all the way up to the conference finals and then decide that you want to change it because you got overwhelmed with the team that's doing something that you could have been doing, that you should have been doing, that fans and the media have been telling you to, but you're so stubborn and you want to just stick to what has gotten you not to the finals, but almost there. Like hasn't gotten you over that hump. And, Hali, he's looked better than, Brunson this series. He's out clutched him in his own, court. Like, and it's crazy because the Knicks, they play better on the road, but playing against that Pacers team and their crazy home crowd, it really didn't help them much. Like, even though these games were close, they were still pretty much in, the Pacers' favor because they could come over that hump and then they had the clutchest player on the floor. And then, all these guys are just rallying around. All these guys are just elevating, like Neesmith going crazy, making those 6 threes in a row. We got Obi Toppin knocking down threes. We got, like, it's crazy just how deep this team is. And I'm honestly really interested to see how they play against OKC. Like, both of these home crowds, they're in small market teams. That's really all they got in their, city. So that's why it's so loud. That's why you hear like former NBA players be like, oh yeah, even though OKC is in a big market, they still, it's super loud in there because that's all they got. That's what they got to root for. So I'm really interested to see how it is. I really love that Haliburton is getting, a lot more love. Hopefully he continues to do this, even though he's not really a, score first type of person. I mean, he gets his buckets because, sometimes the defense, they'll have to, the defense adjust to him. And we can clearly see that Hali can score. He can get you, maybe sometime, he might be able to get you 40, but he can still, have these high point double doubles. He can get there. So honestly, I hope Hali keeps on, continue to do this. I think he'll rack up, all NBAs and all that. And I'm interested to see how the Pacers play. We clearly see that OKC, they're taking care of business against, Minnesota. So, man, I love it, man. I hope, Adam Silver promotes this finals, these two small market teams. I hope he promotes them. People were saying this is Halliburton versus Shea Isis. Twitter is kind of eating it up. It's hilarious, but man, I can't wait to see these two guards hoop, man.